not to be there. And then if for whatever reason you are one of them and you happen to be killed, you are not an infidel. As far as they are concerned, you are going to heaven. So they have fast-tracked your entry to heaven. When they kill, they believe they increase their chances of going to heaven. When they are killed, they believe they are going to heaven. Anybody that dies by their bullets, if he's an infidel, he deserves to die, he's going to hell. If he's somebody that supports them, he's a good person that is going to heaven. They have fast-tracked his good. These are people you are dealing with. So their motivation is crazy. They are ideologically motivated. These are people that will continue to die, and their wish is that after they die, their children should inherit their part. So what we must focus is, how do we defeat the Boko Haram ideology? I know that in Borno State, part of what the governor is doing is he is deploying multiple approaches. We are using the religious clerics so much now in fighting the Boko Haram ideology. That is why the group is not swelling per se in terms of new recruits. Economically, jobs are being created. But so if we situate it to the amnesty, what I have always been worried about, and the governor I'm sure is concerned about, is how do we guarantee the sincerity of whoever accepts the amnesty, particularly those that are ideologically driven. I know that the military has got a lot of intellectuals. I am sure that part of their yardsticks possibly is to evaluate the entry point. For anybody that they are admitting into the amnesty, they have to measure the extent of your ideology to find out how you got involved, for them to know how to categorize you. Now, in the event where you have somebody who was driven by the ideology, but he said that, look, he has sincerely surrendered. What do you do with that? Are you going to keep him in a military facility for forever? You will eventually, release the person into the society. So how serious and dedicated is our security going to be to guarantee that these people are going to be intensely policed in a manner that they do not regroup? Because like I said from the beginning, they have a history of regrouping. So I would say that if the federal government is going on with the amnesty, which, like Governor Shetima has always said, appears to be the necessary evil, they must consider that the components of the amnesty, to me, is even more complex than dealing with the insurgents in the battlefield. Because at that instance, you will be releasing people back into the society, people that you must be sure that they are sincere about repenting, and you must police them. How do you do that? I believe the military is up to the task, but they have to know that this is a very, very serious issue.
Let me say straight away that we have to get to a point in this country where we must make it a duty that we enforce our laws. You see, that is to me very, very important.
Coming from a lawyer.
Yes, that to me is very, very important. Once, you see, it's not that people will not violate the law. What I want to be seen in Nigeria is that once there is a violation of the law, the consequence as laid down by the law must be followed. Don't let us apply law in terms of selectively. When we want to apply the law, we apply it to all manners of people, even-handedly, so that consequence follows action. That to me is the final solution.
Yes, I would say that, I see myself still like a bridge between my Oga here and the Malam in Abuja. I agree with you going forward.
Yes.
But we already have a problem on our hands.
Yes.
And like the gentleman in Abuja has said, amnesty is not just a word you drop.
Yes.
Particularly regarding Boko Haram, it's got to be well thought through. There are things that must be put in place. Otherwise, you're just going to give these guys a free run to come into society, you know what I mean, and do even more damage. So I would say that if you must give them amnesty, it must be thought through. Now, the issue of is there a political dimension? I disagree with him. There is a political dimension. Politicians are politicians. They play politics with everything. So I would say that I'm not sure this guy will have enough time to do a good job of amnesty between now and when next elections will come. So if you ask me, I would say the government should set up a group to think through how is this going to work? How are we going to defeat the ideology, number one? How are we going to ensure that the people who are coming forward are genuine? And then post-rehabilitation, how are we going to ensure that we keep a tab on them to some extent, particularly those who were leaders, you know, in the army of Boko Haram? All right, so I think that's why we round up. And then going forward, to avoid a recurrence of another amnesty project that we don't like, another bitter pill, the answer is to, you know, justice. Go by the law. Yeah.
It all has to do with the law, hasn't it?
Yes.
The law has to take its course.
Yeah.
Indeed. Mr. Gosaya, closing statement?
My closing statement is a very radical one, and this is not the opinion of Governor Kasim Shettima, it's my opinion as a journalist. One, I would look forward to the National Assembly coming up with a law that has to do with this amnesty. There has to be some conditions. Probably in the future, in any situation where political leaders would have to descend to the level of conceding amnesty for criminal elements, people who have committed atrocities against Nigerians and the country. The conditions in granting such amnesty as the final option should also have penalties for those who ought to have secured Nigerians. That could mean either certain political leaders having to resign, some of the security leaders having to lose. There has to be a consequence. That is what I think. Because for now, we know that nobody can blame Buhari, you know, for all this problem. Neither can anybody blame Governor Kasim Shettima. It's a complexity of so many issues. But I think there should be a law that should attach certain conditions, you know, to amnesty. And importantly, too, I think we should, going forward, see a law where we can begin to measure security heads based on level of crime under place, you know, in places that they control. Because what we have in Nigeria today, you can have a commissioner of police or a military commander, a lot of things happening under his territory, and then he gets promoted. The whole thing is very funny. We must begin to attach promotions, attach some consequences, issues of crime. If there are if crime indices are increasing under your command, there is no reason why you should be promoted, or perhaps you don't need to be there. But then the federal government would have to provide all that is required for these security agencies to be efficient.
Thank you very much, Mr. Issa Gusau, spokesman to the Borno State Governor, joined us from our Abuja studio. Norre Dokbolo, development consultant, and Adetokunbo Mumuni, executive director, Socioeconomic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP. Thank you, gentlemen, for sharing your thoughts with us.
Thank you very much.
Sunrise will be back in a moment. Please don't go away.